Hi everyone, welcome to Target UPSC. This is Ajay Shah. So today in this class we are going to start a very important thinker of political science, Karl Marx. And I am very sure that you all people must have heard about Karl Marx. So Karl Marx as a thinker is one of the most, we can say, popular and also one of the most debatable thinkers in political science. There is hardly any thinker who is not influenced by Karl Marx. It is said that all the thinkers in political science, they are either pro-Marx or they are anti-Marx, but no one can afford to ignore Marx. We can understand the gravity of Karl Marx from the simple fact that after Second World War, entire world was divided between two blocks represented by USA and USSR, and the philosophy on which the division was, that was the philosophy of Marx, that is Marxism. Now let me make it very clear, when I teach Karl Marx, I require at least 5 to 6 hours, but here we are going to see an overview of Karl Marx and we are going to understand the essence, the core idea of Karl Marx. Now when we say Karl Marx, then what was the basic philosophy of Karl Marx and what was the basic context of Karl Marx? It is very important to understand. Before Karl Marx, there were many scholars, many thinkers. Let us recall Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Machiavelli. Many thinkers were there, but all those thinkers were a spokesperson of some class. For example, Socrates, Plato were a spokesperson of intellectual class. Machiavelli was a spokesperson of brains. Thomas Hobbes was a spokesperson of a strong state. But there were no scholars, no thinkers who would spoke on behalf of poor class, the class who are underprivileged. And Marx was the first person who became a spokesperson of poor class. He became like Messiah of all the poor people, and he gave a hope that I am going to give you a philosophy which will liberate you from this bondage of poverty, and that we are going to study today. And as a thinker, Karl Marx can be said to an institution, a school of thought. Karl Marx himself is a philosophy, and when we say Marxism, Marxism is all about the thought of Karl Marx. So let us start the class. So let us first understand the context of Karl Marx and the objective of Marx. What basically was the context in which Marx has given his philosophy of Marxism? So basically when Karl Marx started writing, the philosophy that was ruling the society, ruling the world was liberalism. So what exactly is this liberalism? Liberalism believed in equality and freedom. It believed that a man as an individual is important, and it believed in the identity of a man as an individual person. In short, all people should enjoy what? Liberty and freedom. So when you enjoy liberty and freedom, you also require liberty and freedom in doing business, that is free market economy. And that is why there is a linkage of capitalism and Karl Marx and liberalism. And it is said that both philosophies are basically related to each other. And liberalism is nothing but it's a kind of ideological shelter of capitalism. So in capitalism, to be very honest, we can divide capitalism, all the classes, into two parts. First we will have the capitalist class, and then we will have which class? Workers. So Karl Marx is writing in context of capitalist class and working class. Now what Karl Marx says, that working class, the workers in capitalism, they are suffering from alienation. They are suffering from alienation. Alright. Now what is the meaning of that they are suffering from alienation? It simply means that they are separated. What is the meaning of alienation? It means separated. Separated from what? Marx says that in capitalism, workers are separated from product, from society, from the process, and the result is that they are separated from their self. Now what is the meaning of separation from the product? Marx says that working class, they are putting their labor, they are working day and night to make a product in which they have no control, and they will never enjoy the product in which they have given their hard labor. For example, workers are there who will make a world-class international school, construction workers, but they will never be able to send their children in that international schools. Workers are there behind construction of a world-class hospital, but they will never get the benefit of that hospital. In short, Marx says that Laborer class, they give lot of their energy in making a product and they have no control over the product, and that is why they are suffering alienation, separation from the product. They have no attachment towards the product. Then Marx says they have alienated from the process. For example, you people are preparing for UPSC. I am very sure that you must be enjoying the process of the examination. A painter enjoy his work, a singer enjoy his work. But Marx says that the workers, they are not at all enjoying their work. They are so exploited that they are not attached to their process. They are alienated, separated from the process. Alright, and then Marx says that working class people, the workers, they are under such workload, they are under such stress that they are completely alienated from the society. They do not enjoy the social clubs, the culture and all. They are so much busy, they are so much occupied in their work that they are completely separated from the society. And the result of separation from product, society and process is that a working class is alienated from himself. A worker doesn't know who is he, what is the objective of his life, what is the essence of his life, what is the purpose of his life. He has no time to think about himself. In crux, Marx says that in capitalism, a worker is suffering from what? Alienation. And now I will tell you how to end this alienation. So now, till now what we have seen, that Karl Marx is saying that in capitalism workers are suffering from alienation, and now Marx is trying to suggest some solution how to end the pathetic condition of poor class, how to end this alienation of poor class. Now Marx says that before me there were many scholars, many thinkers were there who have spoken about poor class, like we have Saint Simon, Charles Fourier, Robert Owen. But these scholars have only commented on what is poverty. They have simply analyzed the condition of poor. They have written that yes, poverty is there, poor people are there, the condition of poor people is not so good, but they have not suggested any solution how to end the miserable condition, the pathetic condition of this poor. And so Marx says that all the pre-socialists before me, they have given an idea that is called utopian. That means their ideas have no practical application. They have given only what? Philosophy. Now Marx says that my idea, my philosophy, which I am going to give, that is not a philosophy, but that is a science. And Marx says that my explanation is science. Why is he saying science? He is saying that before me, the thinkers who have commented on poverty, they are close to philosophy. They lack line of action. And I am the person who will now suggest what is the line of action. And that is why my interpretation, my solution is science. And in political science, we call it praxis. Praxis means a philosophy, which is a combination of philosophy and action. That means whenever there will be combination of action and this theory, we will call it praxis. So it is said that Marxism is a praxis. It's a combination of both philosophy, theory and action. Now Marx starts giving his theory, and the very first thing that Marx suggests is, now I will tell you what is fundamental identity of a man. Alright, fundamental identity of a man. So if we say that in our society we all carry some identity. Some say that say for example a person is a Hindu, a Muslim, someone from a particular caste, from a particular nation, from a particular community, and many identities are there which a man carry. But Marx says that what is the most fundamental identity of a man? So Marx says, let us go back to the state of nature when there was no religion, no culture, no state, no government. Now this is simply a man, and this man is in a state of nature. Now this man has to survive. If he has to survive, he will have to go to work, and there is no other option. If he has to survive, he will have to work. And if he will have to work, it means that he will become the part of economics. He will become the part of what? Mode of production. So Marx says fundamental identity of a man is economic identity. It is not religious identity, cultural identity or national identity. It is economic identity. In short, Marx says that if you want to end the miserable condition of poor, first understand that your identity is economic identity. And so Marx says all the workers of the world, throughout the world, whether you are in New Delhi, New Zealand or New York, you all should first understand that your identity is not identity of Hindu, Muslim, Christian, American, Indian and all. Your identity is only one that you are a poor man. Interest of a poor Muslim, a poor Hindu, a poor American is same. Interest of a rich American, rich Indian is same. And so Marx says that first of all understand that your fundamental identity is what? That is economics. Now after this, Marx gives his famous theory that is called base superstructure. I will just tell you what is this base superstructure model. So first Marx has established that what is the fundamental identity? The fundamental identity is economics. So Marx says in our society we can divide the society into two parts. First is base and then we have superstructure. This is called superstructure. Now Marx says that in superstructure we have education institutions, we have religion, we have state, we have culture, but in the base we have what? Economics. So Marx says that economics is the most fundamental identity, it's the most fundamental part of entire society, and all this religion, state, education, they are simply reflection of economics. In short, we are looking that this is the state, this is our prime minister, this is minister, these are bureaucrats, these are schools, but these all institutions are controlled by the people who control this base, that is economics. In crux, Marx says that if you want to end the miserable condition of poverty, you will have to hit in the base. Forget about the institution which appear in the superstructure, this institution, religion, caste, these all, you forget this, just hit on one thing, that is called the base. When you change the base, entire thing is going to be changed. Alright. So now let us see what was the model that was suggested by Marx and what was the strategy that was suggested by Marx for what is the purpose? The purpose is end the miserable condition of poor. So Marx says, Marx has given a concept that is called dialectic materialism. We also call it historical materialism or class struggle. Let us understand what exactly is this. So Marx says, if you scan the entire history, you will always find that there are two classes in the history. The one class will enjoy the complete dominance over the property and other class will be propertyless, and always there will be a struggle between the two classes, and history is nothing but history moves through a struggle among these classes. In short, Marx says that history is nothing but history is movement of class struggle, clash between the classes, and as the history moves, different classes clash with each other, and the society or the institution which come next to the class struggle, that has more truth and less contradiction. In short, what Marx says that history will move and the next stage will be better than the previous stage. Alright, now to substantiate his claim, Karl Marx has given a kind of, we can say, he has given a timeline of history. Now in the timeline of history, Marx says that First, there was prehistorical times. It means that history is simply starting here. That means in this point of time, there is no religion, no state, no culture, no private property, and this class is a classless society. There is no class, no capitalist, no workers, no rich, no poor. But Marx has told us that to survive, people will have to work. To work, people will have to enter into some economic activity, and so history moves. The next stage that comes is slave society. In slave society, again, there are two classes. One class is masters, and then we have slaves. Marx called that these masters are haves and slaves are have nots. That means in all the stages of society, the first class will be haves, those who will have the dominance over property, and have nots will not have any property. So again there will be a struggle between master and slaves. A time will come when slaves will revolt against the master and slave society would demolish, and the next society that comes into picture is feudalism. Alright, so first slave society was there, all the slaves they revolted against the master, and the next is feudal society where again there are two classes, lords are now haves and serfs are have-nots. Now Marx is a supporter of class struggle, so Marx again says that these serfs will also revolt against the lords and feudal society would get demolished, and the next society that comes into picture is capitalism. So now Marx says that we are at present in the stage of capitalism where there are two classes, haves are capitalist, bourgeois class, and then we have workers, that is proletariat class. So like in slave society, slaves revolted against the master, in feudal society serfs revolted against the lords, in capitalism also the workers would revolt against the capitalist class. Now Marx says a stage will come, as we move through, a stage will come when workers will revolt against the capitalist class, and this revolution will not be non-violent, this revolution will be violent. Marx says violence is midwife of revolution. There has been no change in the history without blood, and so workers will have to do what? They will have to do violent revolution. Now here just note one thing, two things in fact. The first is that revolution will be violent, and second thing, the revolution will be spontaneous. There is no requirement to prepare the workers for any kind of revolution. There is no requirement to make communist party. There is no requirement to make union. There is no requirement to give any speeches, because workers are suffering from alienation. Their conditions, it is so pathetic that a time will come when they will unite together. And Marx says, oh, all the workers of the world, just come and unite together. You have only one thing to lose, that is your chains, and you have entire world to gain. So he prepares the workers for the revolution. After capitalism, the next stage will be socialism. In socialism, revolution in capitalism will break down after the revolution, and now in socialism, workers, that is proletariat class, will now capture the state. That means workers would become ministers, prime ministers. Now state is under the control of whom? Workers. Now workers know that we have to bring equality, and there is only one way of bringing equality. We will have to snatch the property from the capitalist class, because capitalist class would never give their property on their own. And in the stage of socialism, the workers, after capturing the power, they will snatch all the property of the capitalist class and they will distribute among the workers. And so in this system, what will be there? Everyone will have equal property. There is no class now. There is no have-nots. All people have equal property. Since all people have equal property, there is not going to be any clash. there is not going to be any class struggle. Since there is no class struggle, now there is no requirement of a state and government, and a state will wither away. In short, the stage that is communism is a stage which we call a classless society and stateless society, where equality is there, where economic justice is there. Economic justice will give root to all other justice system. Economic justice will give a pass to social justice and political justice. When you get economic justice, automatically social justice and political justice would come. So this is the saying of Karl Marx. So let me just sum up that workers are suffering from alienation, their condition is not so good, and when their condition is not so good, Karl Marx suggests the method of dialectic materialism, and he says history moves through class struggle. First there was no history. When history just started, there was no class. Then there came which kind of class? Slave society. Then there came feudalism. Then there came capitalism. Capitalism will break one day. Then socialism would come, and at last communism would come, where people will enjoy complete equality, and there will be what? There will be social justice. It will be a classless and stateless society. This was the prediction of Karl Marx. So now let us see that application of Karl Marx. So we have just seen that Karl Marx says that revolution is bound to come, capitalism is bound to end. So let us see who has applied this theory of Marx. So Lenin in Russia and Mao Zedong in China, they were the first person who applied the theory of Karl Marx. But here there is a catchy point. Let us see what is the catch point. So Lenin says Marx is a god. Whatever Marx has predicted, that is bound to come. Marx says revolution will come one day, revolution will come one day. There is no doubt in that. There is not an iota of doubt in that. But Lenin says, if we will wait for the spontaneous revolution, it might come in thousands of years. So let us shorten the span of history. So Lenin says, let us shorten the span of history. It means that what Marx said is bound to come. But I am bringing the dream of Marx by reducing the span of history. And how can I reduce the history? I can reduce the history only and only by making changes in the original theory of Karl Marx. So Lenin is a person who basically changes the theory of Karl Marx. Okay, what changes? I told you that Marx said there is no requirement of making any group, political parties union, but Lenin made a political party. Lenin made Communist Party of Russia. Lenin says Communist Party will become vanguard of revolution. And Marx says there is no requirement of any Communist Party. What is the second change? Marx says that who will bring revolution in capitalism? Workers. But Russia was not in advanced capitalist stage. In Russia, peasant class revolted. Alright, so Lenin made two changes. The change number one, in place of working class, he introduced peasant. And what was the second change? In place of no requirement of any political party, Lenin introduced what? He introduced Communist Party of Russia, and revolution came in 1917 in Russia, and same was done by Mao Zedong. Alright, so this is the application of Karl Marx. So let us see some criticism of Karl Marx. So what is the first criticism of Karl Marx? So the very first criticism of Karl Marx is that what about the dream of Karl Marx? Karl Marx said that capitalism will break down, workers will revolt against the capitalism, but this communism never came in advanced societies, advanced industrial societies. So Marx predicted workers would revolt, but workers never revolted in US, Britain, Japan, the countries who were actually in advanced state. So is it a criticism of Marx? No. Critics of Marx says that Marx was wrong, but supporter of Marx says that the revolution didn't come in advanced capitalist society, because advanced capitalist societies, they brought many changes in capitalism. Previously, capitalism was a very pathetic system. The condition of worker was not so good. There was commodification of working class. But now capitalism has introduced some social welfare policies. America has become a welfare state. Britain has become a welfare state. Now they are introducing welfare schemes in health, education, And so the supporters of Marx says that you people are wrong. It is only the fear of Marx, it is fear of revolution that you people have made capitalism now more human. So Marx is correct, but you people prevented the revolution by bringing changes in what? Change in your system. Now let us see another other critics. So Gandhi says that violence is not the solution, and the history can also move through non-violence. All right. So Marx says violence is midwife of revolution. Gandhi says no, there is no requirement of violence. History can move even by class cooperation. Now Max Weber says that Marx has completely transformed his philosophy or his theory of action into a monocausal explanation of history. Marx says everything is because of economics, and Max Weber says economics can be a factor, economics is one of the factors, but economics is not the only factor. So please do not just oversimplify the movement of history in terms of economics. History moves through many other forces. Karl Popper, the biggest critic of Karl Marx, he says that the explanation of Karl Marx, Marxism is not a science, but Karl Marx is also trying to move with his hidden agenda. Marx has hidden agenda. Marx ideas, Marxism is politically motivated, and we cannot call Marx as an idea which is what? Scientific explanation. And prediction of Karl Marx we have already discussed. So this is all about Karl Marx. I hope that you people have understood the Karl Marx, and I have only just given an overview of this thinker, and in class we will study more about Karl Marx. We'll see more of his theories. Thank you very much.